Do you ever feel like you're constantly searching for solutions to problems in your life? Maybe you're always trying to fix something or figure out how to make things better. Maybe because you're trying to reach a specific outcome. It can often lead to more stress, heightened anxiety, and a lack of fulfillment. So what if we shifted our focus from problem solving to embracing the journey instead? What would be different about your life if you shifted your focus? If you're coming from the perspective of always trying to fix something, that means all you're doing is looking at the problem. If you're constantly looking at the problem, life is sort of passing you by. Life is about living. And if you're overly focused on the problem, then my friend, you are not truly living. Welcome to Define Resistance. My name is Francis. This is where we explore ways to overcome the resistance in our lives, to unlock our fullest potential, because I believe once we're able to defy the resistance in our life, life will flow with more joy, more peace, balance, and alignment. If you are new to this channel, welcome. So happy that you're here. All right, let's get started. I think some of us, and I see this in my clients a lot, they're kind of like, I'm gonna try to say her name correctly. There's a whole YouTube video, I kid you not, about how to say her name properly. Iyanla Vanzant. Okay, no, Iyanla. I apologize. I literally practiced this before I did the video. Anyway, that's really not how it goes. We don't go and pick up a hammer and just try to fix our lives. I really want to encourage you to reframe this moving forward by watching this video. And it is my hope for you that at the end of this video, you will be inspired enough to let go of the need to solve life's problems so that you can cultivate a more fulfilling life. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through 3 steps that you can begin to implement this shift in your life right now, today. The first step is recognize if you're in a pattern of problem solving. Maybe this doesn't apply to you. And that's a beautiful thing. But if it does, then keep watching. Some of the signs that you may be in this pattern are the need to always be in control. I see y'all. You struggle with letting things go. I see you too. And maybe from your perspective, you're constantly putting out fires. That was me. These signs are reactionary, right? But they don't necessarily get to the root. So there might be a strategy, but all it does is keep you looping because we're not going deep enough. When you're able to strengthen this awareness, recognizing that maybe there is a pattern of problem solving, of having to constantly put out fires, you will feel empowered to let go of the need to solve life's problems and begin to savor the journey, because that's the goal. We want to savor the journey. Many of us are really wired to fix things, solve problems, and find solutions to any challenges that may come up. Maybe we're just kind of hardwired that way. While problem solving can be helpful in certain situations, right? It can become a pattern that we truly rely on too heavily. And this can lead to increased stress, heightened anxiety, and a lack of enjoyment in life. You know, life stops being fun and it becomes more regimented because we need to constantly try to find solutions to problems and try to fix. Okay? We don't want to do that, because what happens is when we get caught up in the pattern of problem solving, we can become consumed by it. We may find ourselves constantly thinking about solutions to problems, worrying about potential obstacles, and then feeling like we can never just relax. And so this causes an imbalance in our mental health and obviously leads to burnout. By recognizing the pattern of problem solving, you can start to break free. By recognizing the pattern of problem solving, you can start to break free from it and shift your focus towards enjoying the journey of life. There is a life here that needs and is looking for you to enjoy it. And I'll give you a quick story. My partner and I decided to work on a project together, and I could see this in myself, and my partner is a bit more present than I am. This is something that I have to actively be in the present moment intentionally. I mean, I have to do that. And so as we're working on this project, I had all these ideas and I was like moving forward. I was moving really fast. And I just started to like think of all these things. And she got a little overwhelmed and she said, it's really not about the outcome, Francis. It's really just about the journey. I just want to have fun. And me, I don't know if it's the entrepreneur in me, but like I had all these ideas and it's like business and all this stuff. And I was like, you're right. It really is just about having fun. Like at the end of the day, whatever comes up from this project doesn't really matter. Did we enjoy the journey? Are we enjoying each other's company while creating this thing? Right. So sometimes we get really consumed by the outcome and forget that there's a whole ass journey happening here that we're not even paying attention to. I'm not immune to this either. And I constantly have to check myself. And part of this process is to learn to set boundaries where they need to be set. And these could be internal boundaries or external boundaries with those around you. And by doing this, you free yourself up to enjoy more of your life because you're not misusing that energy, right? You're not using that energy to solve all these things. You're using that energy to enjoy your life and create less resistance. The key, like I mentioned earlier, is to be present. If you're fixated on solving a problem and focusing on the outcome all of the time, then you're just future-based. You're constantly thinking about the future. And being present will allow you to appreciate the journey and find the joy in the process versus grasping at the end result. So notice where you're not being as present in your life because you're so focused on solving this problem. And that will make a huge, huge difference. And I know I'm using the word problem here. I don't care for dualistic language, good, bad, right, wrong. In my world, in my reality, dualistic language doesn't exist. In fact, the English language is really a spell. And I probably might have mentioned this already. It feels like a very much a spell. And I'm just using the word problem as an example. I don't believe that the challenges in our lives are problems. They're just opportunities of growth, ways that we can learn more about ourselves, deepen our connections with self, and also deepen the connections with each other. So I just wanted to use that as a caveat as I continue with this video. All right, let's get back to it. So as you're noticing the patterns of problem solving, think about this. Maybe this isn't your problem to solve. So in that case, allow others to figure it out for themselves and believe that they have the internal resources within to do so. Maybe you're approaching this from more of a fear-based mentality, which is an invitation for you to trust more. Don't be a sink stopper in your life. I know that was kind of corny, guys, but I couldn't help it because it made me think of like, putting, I don't even know what those things are called, the sink stoppers that you throw in the sink to prevent the water from going down. We don't want that. We want the water to just flow. Life cannot flow if you're constantly trying to get ahead of it from a place of fear, scarcity, and lack. You cannot hold on and let go. So at this point, you have to make a choice. So recognize the patterns and make adjustments along the way. All right, let's get to step number 2. And I love step number 2 because I love a powerful reframe. And so step number 2 is just you must reframe your mindset. By recognizing that this is a pattern, you're already beginning to shift your mindset and you're already beginning to shift that energy. But a powerful reframe requires a deliberate effort to shift how you view your relationship to the problem, the way that you think and feel about the problem, the experiences that you're having, which ultimately helps you to see them from a different perspective. The experiences that you're having because of the problem, eventually when you're able to shift your perspective and your mindset, it'll help you to see them from a very different perspective, which creates less resistance, which helps you to get unstuck. When you're constantly focused on solving problems, you may not even see the little joys that life has to offer. You might even find yourself with like a checklist. And what might be happening is whether or not I've just checked this thing off, crossed it off. By bouncing around with a checklist, you might also miss out on valuable learning opportunities that comes from being on the journey itself. Whenever we're faced with challenges, our brains will start to strategize. Okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right? It's just like we go straight to the brain. And I'm always like, we got to go straight to the heart because strategizing doesn't necessarily mean that you've learned something valuable about the challenge. And what I mean by that is we often will strategize, like I just said, and have this illusion that this challenge has been solved, but then it resurfaces in a different way, often with much more intensity because we used our minds to solve this problem. And the reason is we just didn't get to the root. We didn't get deep enough. And so strategy is not always necessarily the next best step because overthinking about coming up with strategies just takes you away from actually living a fulfilling life and living a life in the present for the present moment. It's okay to think of preventative measures. Like my partner is really good at that, but she's also very present. It's okay to think of preventative measures. But if we're consumed by what the next step is and the next step after that step is, you can see how it would take you away from where you are now. And so another way to reframe your mindset is by setting intentions versus goals. We've been taught to, what's your goal in life? And tell me the next 12 goals. And goals are often outcome focused. And what happens is it can create a sense of pressure to achieve a specific result. Pressure just creates more resistance. It's hard to do things by pressuring ourselves to do it. It's more enjoyable if we do it from a place of inspiration. And so intentions, on the other hand, are more processed focused and connect to more of how you want to feel. So for example, my intention today is to be more gentle with myself. And with that intention, I'll be scanning my body. I'll be scanning my environment for more ways to feel gentle, regardless of what comes up. I'm going to respond with gentleness. And as a result of doing that, my day might flow better with less tension and more ease. Do you sense the difference with that? The shift in mindset can help you to let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and instead embrace the unexpected twists and turns that life brings. Instead of dwelling on the things that go wrong, which you already know, nothing's ever wrong, we focus on the things that are actually working, that feel good. So we take the time to appreciate the small wins and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. We don't do this enough. And when you celebrate the small wins, it literally immediately shifts your energy. And that's what we're trying to do. Remember, it's about letting go of the need to control, accepting that there are some things you cannot control, and focusing on what you can control can help you find peace and contentment in the journey that is your life. So identifying the things that are within your control helps you to change your relationship with the problem, your relationship with the experiences that have come about because of the problem, as I mentioned earlier. And that brings more balance and peace in your life, because now you could just let go of the things that you really can't control, or overthink about things that are totally out of your hands. And as a result, by cultivating a more optimistic mindset, you'll become more resilient and better equipped to handle any challenges that come your way. Guaranteed. But this is a practice. We have to learn to practice these habits. And I also want to share a tidbit. There's a bit of mystery to life. We're not supposed to know everything, especially not in this physical realm. So the quicker you make peace with that and accept the things that are outside of your control, you will feel more at ease. All right, so we're on the last step. And I know I sprinkled this throughout the video, but I'm going to give it its own step, which is let go of control. We got to let go of control. Letting go of control can be very difficult for many of us, as we're conditioned to believe that we must be in control of our lives at all times, of our children's lives, friends' lives, you name it. And it can be very daunting to do this, to let go of control, especially if you're someone who is used to being in charge or has a perfectionist tendency. And it's even harder if, as a child, that was your role, right? Growing up, having to be the one to lead, to take care of your siblings because you're the oldest, to fix things. Because if you didn't take control, then everything would fall apart. And I could see how now, as an adult, you're replaying that out in the present day. And maybe you're the person that everyone calls to, because you are the poster person of someone who fixes things and gets things done. If this is you, I want to encourage you to rest, to breathe, and create stronger and clearer boundaries. Take a breath and let the chips fall where they may. And I'm sure by me saying, let the chips fall where they may, that might have caused a bit of anxiety, right? Because that's all you've ever known. And feeling that sense of control also gave you a sense of safety and predictability. And also, it avoided disappointment, right? Because if you're in control of something, then it avoids you being disappointed if someone doesn't follow through on what they said they were going to do. So the idea of not controlling everything in your life causes actually more stress and anxiety. But remember, this is a false sense of safety and a false sense of predictability, because life isn't predictable in that way at all. So your invitation here, if you're somebody who is really has a hard time letting go of control, my recommendation is for you to put yourself in spaces and opportunities, or surround yourself with people where you can let go of some of that control and learn to trust more. Literally put yourself in spaces where you're not in control. Okay. A very safe way. All right, so let's recap some of the things that we already talked about. So the first thing is recognize the patterns of problem solving. This newfound sense of self-awareness will teach you to disrupt any patterns that might come up. Second, practice reframing your mindset and how you approach the problem or the challenge, because then what happens is it changes how you relate to this challenge, and then it changes how you relate to what comes up as a result of the challenge or the problem. And this helps you to free yourself from misused energy by helping you to refocus on what truly matters. And then lastly, let go of the need to control. And this goes against the universal law of the universe, because we are not meant to know everything. There is indeed a mystery to life. The sooner you accept that, the more peace and balance that you will bring into your life. And I'm going to end with this. Remember that life is not a problem to be solved. It's a journey to be loved, to be savored. It's an invitation to be more present, more connected, more flexible, and more joyful. Less resistance, less tension. Let me know in the comments below which step you're going to begin to implement in your life today. When you share this in the comments below, it also inspires others to do the same, knowing that we're all together in this thing. As always, if you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate it. As always, I will see you on the other side of wholeness.